the message of this is not to, because Bill Maher, first of all, I totally agree. He's totally in the right to do it. And I loved his monologue. But this isn't about that dinner. It's about the next one, because this is the modern left. It's an attempt always to intimidate people into not ever doing it again. It's to silence yourselves, or we'll do it for you. That's the purpose of this op-ed, so that the next comedian or the next person on the American left chooses not to speak to Donald Trump. This is all an effort to get people not to do what you just said, which is to talk to each other and our political leaders.
That's CNN black sheep Scott Jennings calling out occasional funny man and progressive pod person Larry David for throwing a public hissy fit and attacking Bill Maher for having the audacity to meet with President Trump at the White House to discuss their political differences. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like elites in Hollywood still haven't gotten the memo that they're mostly irrelevant and no longer have the influence over our politics that they once had. And if you don't believe me, just ask every single A-lister who pathetically threw their weight behind Biden and Harris this election only to be completely humiliated. Regardless though, that didn't seem to stop Larry David from digging a deeper hole for himself. Here's Bill Maher giving his honest opinion about liberals like Larry David fuming over his dinner with President Trump.
So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was, and he said, you know, I've heard from a lot of people who really like that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot. And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk. As opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really? That's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else and we can hold ours? Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high.
You know, I honestly can't think of a better metaphor for fading elites than a celebrity who peaked 20 years ago thinking that he's doing something culturally important by writing an essay in the New York Times comparing Trump to the left's favorite Austrian-German painter for the millionth time. I mean, that's basically like an onion of irrelevance. Each layer has less impact and is sadder than the last. And while the remnants of the left are celebrating David for it, Bill Maher chose to sit down with Charlie Kirk and try to do something useful once again by finding common ground between the divided parties.
We're on different planets, obviously, on the spiritual religious stuff. But when you spoke against the woke, that for me was a proving moment. And I have to say something, and this is 100% true. You had more moral courage than pastors that I know that went along with the woke crazy train. And you deserve credit for that because it was of high cost.
Until we get rid of that, they're never going to win another election.
I agree. They're not going to take political advice from me.
No, but they might from me.
They could.
And
they should.
Not the 10%, but that's 10%.
But they're very loud.
They're very loud, but that's it. And I, you know, as FDR once said, I welcome their hatred because they're just, first of all, they have no integrity. They don't ever present the full argument. They just cherry pick. I mean, everybody does it to everybody. So I'm not saying I'm unique here, but that is part of the problem of our discourse is that everybody just wants to forward their narrative. No one is really interested in the full truth. Just the truth. Just give me the truth. And that's the crowd I'm going for.
The hilarious thing about progressives is that they've sort of found a weird way to begin mending what they broke in the first place. Because if they weren't so crazy, the left and right wouldn't have any common ground to begin discussions and humanizing each other. On top of that, if progressives weren't so radical and obsessed with eating their own, Trump wouldn't have formed a coalition of disaffected liberals. And because of the radical left, it was easier for him to make all of these historic wins with minority voters and people who don't typically support Republicans.
We have different jihadis that want to kill me, the purple-haired jihadis, the woke guys.
Well, they want to kill me just as bad.
Probably.
Oh, they really do.
No, you've been very outspoken on the woke stuff, big time.
Oh, yes. I mean, and they, just the way within a religion, they hate their own apostates more. I would say they hate me more. because I'm supposed to like get on the short bus to Crazy Town with them, and I won't. And yet I'm still a liberal and still like, you know, I mean, we probably could argue all day about Donald Trump and what he's doing, which I'm not down with. But, you know, it's always the people who are closest who think, oh, gosh, you shouldn't have, you're a traitor somehow.
I was going to ask, is it because they thought you were one of them and that...
I am one of them. They're not one of me. Okay. It's the liberals who have...
So they've left you, not you left.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's... Liberal and woke are two completely different things. It was a theme of my last stand-up special that I just did a few months ago. And it's basically... I mean, it wasn't the whole special, of course, but it was a large part of it devoted to that, to proving that case that, you know, what liberals believe, woke is something completely different. It's very often the opposite of it. You know, liberalism is, let's live in a colorblind society. That's the goal. Woke's goal is we see race everywhere.
Race obsession.
Yes. Okay. So that's not liberal. You change. Liberal is there are two-state solution. Woke is river to the sea. Okay. So just don't take my word and say you're that. You took this and took it to... You got off the F train, you fell asleep, and you got off the 20 stops too far, and don't blame me for that.
You know, I've said it before, but I don't agree with Maher on a lot of things, and honestly find him to be a bit opportunistic at times. But the fact of the matter is, despite all of that, there's still value in what he's doing. It's representative of a cultural shift taking place in the country, which came to a head when President Trump won this recent election. And Charlie Kirk is right that regardless of Maher's motives, he's shown more backbone than a lot of people claiming to be conservatives, particularly when it wasn't so easy to speak out against woke stuff. And thankfully, it's looking more and more like people are choosing to have these sit-downs in an honest and less confrontational way, which is honestly what the majority of Americans are looking for. No one's expecting 100% cultural saturation of their beliefs or compliance with their political agenda. We'd frankly be happy with a pre-Obama era tone where it's okay to disagree and people aren't excommunicating friends and family over their political beliefs. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about Larry David's essay? Is Scott Jennings right about the real intention of it? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!